ColORCHESTRA is back.
Our new season of auditions for classical musicians is now available. Performance opportunities for students, young professionals, and seasoned artists.
Perform a concerto with orchestras around the world. We have 4 orchestras this season. Perform with orchestras throughout the US, Czechia, and Egypt. New this season, opportunities for composers to have their orchestral works recorded by the Boulder Symphony Orchestra, mastered and distributed on the world's most known music streaming platforms.
Audition live from the comfort of your own home. Get live evaluations from expert judges and expand your online presence through our international internet broadcasts. Additional award and performance opportunities are also available. Visit our website for full details. Don't miss out on these wonderful opportunities to advance as a musician and perform on a world-renowned stage. We look forward to hearing your performances.
Hello and welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live music programs. We are really pleased to have you join us. This is session 11 of our ColORCHESTRA Auditions. It's really exciting to have wonderful music. We have judges on. It's going to be a great show. We look forward to all the music that we have. And our channel is dedicated to bringing live performances and events from international artists delivered to audiences around the globe. Hello and welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live music channel. My name is Chris Au and I'll be your host for today's show. This is session 11 of our ColORCHESTRA Auditions, where wonderful musicians are auditioning for a chance to play with orchestra. And this is really exciting because they're preparing concerti. And these concerti, sometimes accompanied by either a piano or a soundtrack, or sometimes on their own. It's just amazing music by great composers out there. We have something from Beethoven this evening, as well as Rodriguez. And so what an exciting time to be listening to these musicians who are auditioning from around the world. The goal of these auditions, especially with an integration with our wonderful judges who give live feedback, is to encourage and nurture, as well as reward musicians who are proactive, who are sharing their art on the internet alongside the social media platforms, and want to develop their careers. I think in our modern age, especially after the pandemic, it is really crucial for us to include a lot of music that's online so people are able to access it, to listen to it. We've had amazing comments from people. If you're watching us, please feel free to leave a comment for our contestants, for our musicians. If you have any suggestions or comments or feedback, we'd love to hear from you. And together we are providing opportunities for musicians to discover their unique artistic voice. We encourage them to take initiative, to present themselves on their own terms, and to carve out their own career paths. And we have 4 wonderful orchestras that are ready, that have been prepared to welcome young musicians to the stage and to play with them as a soloist. So let's take a look at what is happening in the next 4 days. As you can see within the schedule that we have, you will see that there's a lot that's going on. We have 4 wonderful orchestras from the Philharmonic Bohuslav Martinu, as well as the Boulder Symphony. We have the Western New York Chamber Orchestra, as well as the Cairo Opera Orchestra, who are all offering wonderful opportunities for young musicians to play with them, whether they want to be a vocalist, whether they're a woodwind player. We recently heard a wonderful marimbas, a percussionist, you are a string player or a pianist. We really welcome you, and these orchestras are looking for wonderful musicians from around the world who will audition on this platform to solo with them very soon in this season or the next. So I am so excited to welcome amazing musicians that will be joining us, and these auditions are really critical for the development of a lot of these musicians who are preparing concerti, and it's thanks to the organization of ArtistVenture, Sound Espressivo, Progressive Musicians, and Virtual Concert Halls in collaboration with the Western New York Chamber Orchestra, the Bohuslav Martinu Philharmonic, Cairo Opera Orchestra, Boulder Symphony Orchestra, as well as with the support of many other organizations that you see on screen now who are offering opportunities. We are getting a lot of traction with all the people who are involved with us who are offering great opportunities. So these don't just include opportunities to play with an orchestra, but they also include artist management on perhaps, or production of an album, recording, distribution as well, masterclasses all around the world. And people are just waiting for musicians to take part in these auditions. We have more things coming up, including Carnegie auditions, but these are the ones that are for musicians who want to play with orchestras around the world. Participants from many countries are seeking guidance and support from the judges through live comments, which you will hear after each performance today. Really special about the Sound Espressivo competition, as well as the model that we've created, is that and even the judges are saying this, is just the ability to be able to interact with the contestant, and the musician feels after they've played that they get to have a reaction, have a response. They're not just playing for a screen. They are playing for a screen, but the screen on the screen are people who are reacting to their music, and these include us hosts as well as the judges, who give generally very constructive feedback, very supportive, very encouraging. And this is critical in the development, to know what you did well, know what you could improve, know how you could practice better perhaps, or know what to listen. And sometimes the judges even ask questions of the contestants to get to know them a bit more, and then to cater the response and the feedback that they give. I would like to give a big hand and to thank our introduce our organizers. We have Sound Espressivo Global Competition, which is an online live stream competition. It combines a competition with a live performance experience. Progressive Musicians, which is an organizer of many competitions and concerts at prestigious venues like Carnegie Hall. And so what I really enjoy about these collaborations that we have is that we not only provide a virtual online audition where, as a lot of our contestants will attest to, there are tech checks. There are people who are dedicated to making sure you sound your best with the microphone, the camera, lighting, and everything that you have, including the accompanist or anybody who's playing along, to make sure that they sound really great online. It's a really different kind of skill, playing online versus playing on a stage, a different awareness of the acoustics and so much more. We have Virtual Concert Halls, which is the internet TV broadcaster, providing artists with a virtual stage ability to reach audiences beyond the walls of conventional concert halls. And together we have designed the amazing online experience, but we also want to make sure that amazing musicians get the chance to play live, because really nothing beats the live performance, but you get that interaction, you get that sort of energy where it's this now and never again, never the same way again. And so I love this part of it. And we are also supported by ArtistVenture, which is focused on providing performance opportunities for musicians in Europe, Asia, and beyond, organizing tours in countries and prestigious concert halls, masterclasses, and seminars. And I want to show you now a trailer to show you what we do, what we're capable of in the Sound Espressivo and beyond.
No matter where you are or who you are, music connects us all. We started with a dream, but now we are paving the future. Welcome to the Sound Espressivo Global Competition. Fully virtual, yet bringing musicians closer together than ever before, now on a global scale. True live, inclusivity, diversity, connection, community, an extraordinary array of judges. Get noticed by companies all over the world. Prizes, scholarships, performance opportunities. Apply to be a part of the most exciting congregation of artists, like nothing you've ever seen before. We guarantee quality and leave no musician behind. We can't wait to hear you on the virtual stage.
So before we talk about the season awards and what we have in store, I also want to talk about our before we introduce the judges, I want to talk about the season awards. The season awards are really quite special. What we have with the season awards is an ability and the capability to actually give awards to people for performing throughout the season, right? When they perform throughout the season, we acknowledge that. We acknowledge a lot of this and are able to give them awards that you may not see so much on on the screen, but also these are opportunities to play in masterclasses, to be a part of new composers and modern composers, to have masterclasses and experiences all over Europe, all over the world, in Asia, etc. And this is just a wonderful way for musicians to be more involved, to feel like their careers are growing in a very different way. So it's really special, and I am very excited that we are able to offer these amazing awards. And now we are going to introduce the judges. These judges are eagerly awaiting the performances of tonight. We are in session 11 of our ColORCHESTRA auditions, and each audition is filled with judges listening sometimes to entire concerti, to many different movements, many different pieces, and we have wonderful conductors, vocalists, we have wind players, string players all over the world who are very invested in giving not only good feedback but to dedicate their time. So I want to give a big hand to them, to thank them. I want to first introduce Joanna Moffat, and they have relocated from Western New York to Chicago. Hello, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Chris. Thank you
of
so
course,
much.
are a veteran. They are in charge of core productions, a female-run team. You are a part of it, and it's so amazing to have your feedback. Joanna, I always love listening to you give feedback, and I didn't know that you also played a bit of percussion before going to become a vocalist. That's something I learned about you.
I have a very long career in instruments until I settled in voice.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's a bit of a journey, and I appreciate that. It's never. I think sometimes you go through this journey to discover what you really truly want to do, and then that's it. Your mind is made up. It's not something that you go with the flow and someday, I guess I'll do this. You had to really decide and choose. So. Yeah,
well, I
wonderful.
feel like singing chose me, so yeah.
That's good. I'm glad. Well, thank you for joining us. I also want to introduce our other judge, Devin Patrick Hughes, who serves. Hello, welcome to the show. And,
hi, Chris. Hi, Joanna. Great to be back.
Hi, Devin.
And for everybody watching, Devin Patrick Hughes is a American orchestral and operatic conductor of Irish and Guatemalan descent. You are currently serving as music director and conductor of Boulder Symphony and the Cairo Philharmonic. You've been recently invited to the Untitled conducting competition and featured in Maestro, the Salty International Conducting Competition, as a semi-finalist in Budapest. You have a podcast, which I didn't know about. It's fantastic. It's called One Symphony, and you amplify the voices of composers and artistic entrepreneurs. That's wonderful. It's wonderful that you do that, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. And we just had Rachel Barton Pine on the show last week, and then it releases tomorrow. So we have the great Chinese American composer Chen Yi, who's going to be the guest. So if anybody wants to check out One Symphony, that's the name of the podcast, is One Symphony.
Love it. I love a good plug. Yeah, everybody, please check out One Symphony so we can get their subscribers and get the views going. This is wonderful. I love podcasts personally. So I just love anybody who's interested in doing these and having interviews and making an audience realize what there is behind what we do. It's really remarkable. So thank you for that. Yeah. Well, let's go off to our contestants. Right, we have two for this session, and first we have a wonderful pianist by the name of Alexis Dyche, performing Beethoven Piano Concerto No. 2 in B flat major, Opus 19. She's playing the first movement, Allegro con brio, and accompanied by Ji-Young Kim. Welcome to the show, and enjoy the virtual stage. Bravo! Congratulations, Alexis. That sounded fantastic. And congratulations also to your classic pianist who played wonderfully for you. And now first we're going to have Devin, who, correction from before, he's the music director and conductor of the Boulder Symphony and Music Academy as well. Devin, would you like to give your comments first, please?
Thanks, Alexis. That was wonderful. You had an incredible drive and incredible style for Beethoven, I think. And you brought out a lot of the shades and the different characters, I think, of the different parts of the movement. Just two things, really. Sometimes the ends of the phrases, and I don't have measure numbers, so I can't tell you exactly where, but sometimes ends of the phrases, you tend to almost slow down just a little bit, like you want to place it. I would keep going even through the ends of the phrases where you have cadenzas, where you're handing off stuff to the orchestra. I would always, unless it's approaching a cadenza or something, I would really make sure that it goes straight to the next phrase every time. And then another very small thing, sometimes, especially in the cadenza, I was noticing, you almost want to tripletize the 16th notes. I would really keep the 16th notes with a ton of energy. Yum, ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Even maybe the dotted eighth notes a little bit shorter sometimes, just in the style of Beethoven, where there's a lot of rhythmic pushing forward. And triplets, when you make 16th notes triplets, it tends to make it, give it a more relaxed feel. So that those are the only two small things that I would suggest to work on. Congratulations on your wonderful work, and I look forward to seeing you with an orchestra someday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Devin. Joanna?
Hi, Alexis. It's so great to hear you again. The thing that I was thinking about was, what were the things that I'd asked you for before, and what was the same. And the thing that really struck me is that your clarity of sound and your precision of technique really remained consistent, and I was so impressed by that, especially because, it's just really a beast of a piece. It was so beautiful. And the thing that you changed, which is what I kind of asked for, was a little bit more of a stretch here and there. And I was just, it made it easier to listen to. It made it easier to understand what was happening. And I really appreciate that. The only thing that I would ask you for next, I think that the next step for you would be, is to breathe more and exhale as you're playing. So like when you breathe in, it like a singer would, because I'm a singer. Breathe in and then exhale into your phrase. So maybe like practice the phrases, singing them instead of playing, and see how that makes you feel about them. See how that changes things for you. But that was amazing. Again, amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanna. And now I want to introduce Dikran Atamayan to the show as well. Just a very brief one.
Sure,
He's
yeah.
a wonderful, fantastic pianist and artist manager, founder of Prize Productions. You have played with some of the greatest orchestras in the US and all over Europe as well. So your insight is always very valuable. Dikran, do you have anything to say to Alexis?
Yeah, it was great. But I only heard, I have to put a disclaimer. I just came in from dinner. came in at the end of the cadenza. That was plenty to hear, though. It was really, really great playing. Pianistically, it's just terrific. I agree with, is it Devin? Yeah. Have you played 101 Beethoven, Opus 101, the sonata?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you should study that piece because it's what he's talking about. Those 16th notes, like in the March in 101. Da-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-dee, da-dum, ba-dum. You don't want to make those triplets. They have a lot of tension in the dotted eighth, and the 16th note that tags it at the end must be crisp. I think he's right. Instead of going da 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 you know, and still have the line going horizontally. I think I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to make it very melodic, that end of the cadenza with the little bass thing going on. That's very admirable. It's hard to make that melodic, but you can make it melodic. You know, I forget how it goes. It's very difficult work, I know. Very difficult work. Yeah, your scale work is beautiful. It's just fluid. And you couldn't ask for.
So thank you so much, Dikran. And whilst we're getting you back.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, say it again. Oh,
just,
yeah,
just,
sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the trouble with this. I'm going to have that corrected soon. Bless you. No, but did you play yesterday, the Beethoven second?
2 days ago. No, 2 days ago.
I wasn't there, was I? No. It's a different Beethoven second. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, because I didn't think it was the one I heard before. No, this was very crisp, very articulate. Oh, I have one comment only, actually, besides that dotted rhythm. He's right. Who was it? Yeah, Devin said this too. Get to the downbeat. You know where you go. Get to the downbeat, then take time in the right hand. Don't go and then leave us hanging. Stupid fun. Don't leave us hanging up there. And then where's the bass note? It'll be a lot easier to execute too pianistically. And by the way, you sit perfectly. You're high. Let me see, where are you? Yeah, you're high and far enough. You're the only one I've heard in recent memory that plays with the right posture. You have to sit high so you can get a bird's eye view of the piano, like 35,000 feet, you know? I mean, yeah. Well, you won't be at 35,000 feet, but the airplane is. Yeah, I can tell you can see the whole keyboard very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you really perceive the keyboard like I haven't heard in a while. You just,
Wonderful.
It's all there. It's all there, you know. And that's the only thing is ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-boom. Go to the bass note, then take, let's see, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dee-da-da-da-da-da, then take time with the filigree in the right hand to give you a little time to get down to the right hand, or hit the bass note and take a little time and then play in tempo. You see what I mean? Just take a little time between the first and second 16th notes. You have it made, but don't leave us up there. Don't leave us up there in la la land up in the treble. It doesn't make any sense because you want to get down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thank you, Dikran. Thank you so much. Alexis, do you have anything to say to the judges? Any sort of comments do you want to, or any feedback on the feedback you got?
Thank you all for your comments, and I owe this all to my wonderful teacher, Dr. Jim Kim.
Yeah,
Brother.
props to Dr. Ji-Young Kim. Thank you. She was your collaborative pianist and your teacher. Not easy to be playing in that situation either. So congratulations, Alexis. We hope to hear you more in the future, maybe with the whole concerto once you've learned that. And for our audience, the cadenza that she just played, even though the concerto was written quite a lot earlier in his life, the cadenza was written around the periods of Opus 101. So
yeah,
it really is quite a difficult cadenza to execute. So bravo on doing that, and congratulations. we are going to move on. Thank you everybody for watching so far. You are on session 11 of our ColORCHESTRA Auditions. This is a pleasure to be able to hear such wonderful music. Next up, we have Kenneth Kam playing the guitar. He is going to be performing the whole concerto of Rodrigo Concierto de Aranjuez. The stage is yours, Kenneth. Welcome to the show and please enjoy. Bravo! Congratulations, Kenneth. Thank you for playing this amazing piece for us. I really never get tired of listening to it. It's really nice. Let's have Joanna first.
Sure. Hi, Kenneth. Thank you so much for playing my favorite concerto.
My pleasure. It's very fun to play it.
You look like you were having a good time.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are clearly technically very proficient and obviously know your instrument really well. It, it wasn't until the second movement that I was sure about what sound you were trying to create in this world. And I think it might have been the fault of, I mean, we all have done this, the track, because it felt like it was, the first movement was slower than you wanted to play. Or maybe I'm wrong. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, please. But it felt like you wanted to go faster than the orchestra was, you know? And so
the tape is a little bit funny. Oh, sorry. Am I interrupting you?
No, please go ahead.
Okay. No, the tape is a little bit funny. It's like the beginning is a little bit slower, so I wrote a little note to remind myself not strum too fast. And then there's like some section because the tape was probably recorded for someone in performance. So I'm sort of like following someone's footstep to play around it. So it's sort of something that I need to get better with.
Well, I would actually encourage you to get rid of the track because I want to hear what you want it to sound like. I want to hear your concept of the sound of this piece because I think the thing that's exciting about it is when you get those dynamic shifts and those big downbeat moments. And for me that was kind of missing. And I don't think it was your fault. I think it was this like coordination with the track.
Right.
And I really like if we weren't live and I had other judges, I would just ask you to play it without the track and hear what your concept of the sound of this is. Because sometimes in the third movement, I missed the articulation of really hitting the downbeat and like I missed some of that stuff and I think your technique is really good. So obviously you can do those things and it's probably part of the concept of your sound for this piece. So if there's time, maybe we can listen to it again.
No, it would be my pleasure to play it, yeah.
Thank you. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Maybe I can just ask you, what is your concept of the sound of this piece? Do you have a general idea of what you want from the orchestra?
Right. I feel like the first and the third movement is rather straightforward. It's really not a whole lot of wiggle room because of how many notes is already written in the score for the guitar. And really the flexibility really lies in the second movement where there's more flexibility of like slowing down and then chasing and then like the cadenza, of course. Sorry, my eyes is getting watery. It's not like I'm crying.
I'm sorry, I hurt your feelings.
Watery. I think my hands is irritating my eyes up. But yeah, okay. So the first and the third movement is just so straightforward. It's really rhythmic and dance-like, especially the beginning movement has a lot of rasgato, and an orchestra is also like echoing the guitar. So it's really rhythmic, driven, pulse-driven, and a lot of energy. So that's sort of my concept of the whole arch of the piece.
Okay.
And I also want to add a lot of Spanish flavor in it, with a lot of strumming and adding like because I can totally just play a chord like this, but it's less kind of rasgato is really adding like a lot of Spanish flavor. So I want to add more. I always feel like I'm not adding enough, and I totally aware of what you're mentioning about the downbeat pulse. And those are stuff that I have been constantly just trying to work on and strive for getting better and better. Yeah.
Well, bravo. Good for you. That's awesome.
Thank you, Joanna. Well, let's have Dikran go next.
Okay, well, I totally disagree with all of that. I think it needs quite a bit of work, and it's too slow. It doesn't move. I don't mean in terms of fast, slow tempos. I just mean it just does not feel like, like a portrait, like a picture, like a horizontal line. The track, whatever this music -1 thing was, really not good.
Oh no.
Yeah, it kept you back. I think you can play much better, but as it is, I found it to be very straight, not a lot of emotion. I don't think the first and last movements are boring or whatever you said they were. Don't have much chance for expansion and breadth. I mean, look, it's the space between the notes that counts. It's not the notes. And you can miss a note here or there, but it's the balance and those harmonies that you have to hear that make your heart want to go move towards a note, go away from a note, go away from a harmony, stay in a harmony. I mean, there's so many things involved with, you just know when it's right. The slow movement, yeah, the cadential points were better. Those were, you started to playing maybe the way you want to play. It's not very spirited. I know the piece very well. The Romeros are old friends of mine. I've known them for 40 years. And my favorite recording of this is Julian Bream. It's just sensational. I suggest that you hear it. He was a great guitarist. But, it's all, I guess it's very subjective, but I think this needs some remedial work, and you have to go back to the drawing board and, look at the canvas and see what you really want to do with the piece. It's not ready for performance.
I think I agree in a way. The track is, I think what you mentioned about the cadenza, because I sort of paused the track completely. That's the only spot I did that. So I'm not so sure whether,
yeah, but I mean,
there should be still room to make more music even with the track. But I agree with what you said.
Yeah, but the track doesn't keep you from. I mean, if you were going to use a track,
right,
you have to play with the track, and there were many uneven runs and holes in your sound all over the place with the track. So yeah, the track is crap, but that's not the point. You've got to acclimate. What if you had an orchestra? And by the way, what if we can ask Devin here, what if you had a conductor that was completely inflexible, that couldn't hear, no arms, no legs, you must be a conductor. I mean, the jokes. Okay, so he's inflexible and he wants it bum ba-da-dum bum ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum bum bum bum. Totally in dull strict time rather than free. Bum ba-da-dum bum ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum bum bum. That's got to move. I mean, sure, it's not very much different than dull strict time, but it's the intent. What are you intending to do with every phrase? What is the intent? See, if you don't pull it off and the intent is there, no problem. I have no problem with you. And there are technical problems, but man, the intention is just crystal clear. Always the vision is there and it's going somewhere. I just found that it wasn't going anywhere. It was just stopping and starting, and then scales were gone, and so on and so forth. So I think you need to rethink the work and possibly listen to somebody else play it. I don't know. I'm not really big on recordings. Listen to yourself, record yourself and then play it back or something.
Sure.
Thank you, Dikran. Thank you so much. Well, we have Devin next.
So I'm going to take a little bit of a middle of the road approach, because I think that both Joanna and Dikran had some incredibly spot on things to say. First of all, I would start by If you have something to irritate your eyes, so much the better for this second movement. So go ahead and irritate your eyes, make the tears. That will help the audience. That will help you present the piece. I thought there were some nice flares, like you talked about getting more kind of Spanish flamenco style or whatever it is. Keep going in that direction. I think you're like 30 to 40% there, but anything you can do in that regard. In terms of you being followed by the conductor or being able to fit in with the orchestra, I agree. There are some back and forths with the tempo that I don't necessarily attribute just to the recording, which actually was I had the strongest opinion of your whole performance. My strongest opinion was about that tape that you used, and I would just never do anything like that again.
Wow.
I don't know if that's. I mean, just play by yourself or play with a pianist. That's fine.
Right.
But better to play by yourself, because then you can do whatever you want. Obviously you can work up some of the passage work. If you want to use recordings, once you're at a performance level, or you feel you're at a performance level, you've used the metronome. And I also think key in the first and third movements are the metronome. Rodrigo clearly marks 84 to the quarter, dotted quarter, which you were under, but also the orchestra was very under. And I don't want you to mention what that orchestra was, because whatever that orchestra was, they were so slow. I don't think I would present that. I would be embarrassed to present that tempo. It was not your fault, obviously, but I would be a little more discerning in the tempos you take, especially the third movement. They were at about 120. Rodrigo marks 164 to the quarter, right? So that's a huge discrepancy. So I would be closer to that ballpark. But once you get Rodrigo's metronome markings, you're using a metronome, you're feeling good about it. You should be able to have the Spanish style in the context of the metronome, because there's no orchestra that's going to wait for you to do a Spanish thing. You have to be able to do them in the context of a consistent tempo. So what was I say? So I would basically say, first and third movement, really work those tempos up. Second movement, I thought overall was a good style. But if you want to use recordings, I would get it to that performance level and then play over recordings, like play over Julian Beam or Romero, or find great artists who have played this with an orchestra and play along with them. Right? That's a good once you've gotten to a point where you're comfortable setting a tempo and keeping it. But if you do a performance, I would much rather hear just the solo, just you, and not a track. Even if the track is all the great tempos and everything, because you're having to constantly adjust to that track.
True.
And you were focused on adjusting to that track. You weren't focused on giving. I mean, you can't. It's impossible. I think Yo-Yo Ma said the reason he practices so much is so he can transmit the message to his audience. And if he's sitting there worrying about anything, that have to do with technique or ensemble or anything, the message is going to be lost. So that's I think there was a part in the first movement where the track cut off. I don't know if it cut out for you, but it cut out for us.
It's like a technical issue. Suddenly, probably the computer hooked onto the Bluetooth long enough that it disconnected itself.
Yeah, so those few seconds were your best part of the performance when that track was gone. Like you started to come out because you weren't trying to follow somebody, which, like I said, is a good skill to have. So go ahead and follow great recordings to see how different soloists do it. But if you're going to perform, I would never use a track like that again.
Right. No, that makes a good point, because I think last time I was doing an audition, I was not using a track, but in another way, I feel like because it has a lot of jumps, like from section to section. So I was thinking about maybe try using a track, but then definitely I came across exactly what you mentioned. Sometimes the track is, of course, it was following and soloist with the whole ensemble. So sometimes slowing down and sometimes speeding up. And I can tell you some of my capacity of my mind was trying to line up with it. And probably that is causing some of the ideas that I was not focusing on doing that. That's actually a very good point. that I probably should review it again. But yeah.
Yeah, and if you can find a pianist who can play this orchestra part, take them with you wherever you go.
Take them on tour, bring them on tour. Well, thank you so much, judges. This is just a wonderful way to give feedback to Kenneth right after the performance. It's fresh on everybody's minds, and it really makes a really big impact. Kenneth, I really enjoyed your performance. Thank you so much for sharing this wonderful concerto. I really do enjoy listening to it a lot. And with that, we're going to give our big hand to our judges. Thank you, Kenneth, for your time. Thank you for everybody for their suggestions too. So, judges, before we wrap up this session, I want to just ask a question to all of you. Is there a way in which we can kind of educate some of our musicians? Like when you go into the first rehearsal and you're the conductor or you're the soloist, and you just have one rehearsal, dress rehearsal, and then that's it. What are your suggestions for musicians on preparation, how to just maximize that first rehearsal or dress rehearsal and just be able to be prepared so that everybody feels confident? Let's go around the circle. We'll end with Devin. Joanna, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, absolutely. I try to have as many conversations. So if I'm the conductor, I try to make sure that I have my score completely prepared, obviously. But if I'm the soloist, I try to have as many conversations with the conductor beforehand as I can about my concept of the piece, about what their concept is, what the orchestra is like, how do they play, listen to recordings of the orchestra if I can, so I notice any particularities. Maybe a certain section tends to play a little bit behind, or maybe another section tends to play fast or something. There are many things that happen. But yeah, those are
nice. Thank you. Dick Ryan, in your experience as a soloist and having all these experiences, what do you think is useful for musicians who are playing with orchestras to know in terms of the first rehearsal or limited rehearsal time?
Well, this is a very interesting question. In case nobody knows, why should you know? I've played with a lot of famous conductors, right? And I'm saying that sarcastically because Devin probably knows exactly what I'm going to say. Gustav Meyer was my father-in-law, if any of you know him.
Wow.
Yeah, I married his daughter. We're not together anymore. Not that you need to know that, but is
it like a Liszt and Cosima and Wagner thing you got going?
No, Gusti and I used to go to movies. That was where we really. No, he was very instrumental in my career. I have to say, he was very supportive, and he put thousands of dollars in my pocket way before I ever met Angie. But the point is, he's a guy. And you probably know this, Devin, that he puts his money where his mouth is. If he doesn't believe in you, he's not going to do crap. Okay? He's that kind of guy. Okay. But he and I fought constantly we played many concertos together. He's no longer with us, so I can say this. And fortunately, my mother-in-law is close to that point. So anyway, not fortunately, I don't want her to die, but you know what I'm saying. But the point is, I disagreed with almost every. I said things to Gustav, and he would go, "What? What do you mean?" And I say, "What do you mean? What I mean?" It was very clear about what I just said. Listen to the harmonies. What are you doing up there if you're just beating strict time? I can get a metronome, which I've never used in my life. Okay, ever. Now look, Leinsdorf, Commissiona, DePriest, Zinman, Mazel, they all have one problem. They don't listen. Okay? They're routine conductors, and all they do is beat time. I want somebody that has ears, and I've got a great joke, a conductor joke, by the way, that Gustav told it to me, which, we can go into later. It's a very funny joke. But it's about two animals who bump into each other in the forest, and it's dark. And they don't know what each other is, and you can go from there. I'll give you my idea of a conductor, first of all. Carlos Kleiber, Chelabadachi, Eric Kleiber, his father, unbelievable conductor. And in terms of living conductors that I know, Devin, you're excused from this because I've never played with you or heard you, but you seem very insightful. I must say I'm impressed. But Grzegorz Novak is the best. Him and Jerry Schwartz, you might disagree with that, but Jerry was undoubtedly the world's greatest trumpet player and musician of all time. I mean, he's just a gem, just a phenomenal musician. Schwartz and Grzegorz Novak, who won the Ensemble competition in every department, are the greatest conductors I've ever played with, and they're not the most famous. They didn't have the cashola, you know. Okay. So listen, this conducting thing, I don't want anybody out there swatting flies, okay? I want them to listen to what I'm doing. And I've always told a conductor, you know, when we don't get along, like in Germany, this guy who's Achtung and all this stuff, I said, listen, man, I'll get up there and conduct, and you play the Ravel G major, you know, just sit down and play. No problem. I'll conduct it, you play. Oh, no, I cannot do that. I said, well, you're a pianist, you know. Follow the soloist, maybe even if you don't believe in anything he's doing. Follow the soloist. But I prefer a collaboration. Yes. I love ideas from the conductor. I love ideas from but for I'm not going to curse here, but for crying out loud, don't give me this stuff like, oh, we can't do that. Well, I don't understand what you're doing. Or, what? You know, I mean, come on. There's one conductor that asked me, I was playing Brahms D minor with the guy, and he goes, oh, no one else does this. And I said, yeah, I'm Richie Atamian. It's my, you know, go listen to my recording with Poznan and Novak, and then maybe, you know, you should come to the rehearsal.
Okay, but Richie Atamian, back to my question.
Wait a minute. Hey, listen, Chris, I'm giving you an answer.
I see.
The riddle is there is no answer, because you've got to be prepared. Well, there is an answer. Sorry. You've got to be prepared for every lunatic that's on that podium, and every stupid thing that comes out of the orchestra, and they've got to be ready for every lunatic soloist. Believe me. Yeah. Well, that's right. You thought I was only one-sided. I side with Devin. I'm on Devin's side. I have heard some of the kookiest stuff. I mean, there was a very famous singer who told Gustav, and I was at the rehearsal. We're talking about ultra famous, okay? We're talking about 50,000 a night, right? And she goes, "Where's your metronome?" Telling that to Meyer? I mean, if nothing else, he's a Swiss watch. I mean, you don't tell Meyer that he needs a metronome. He's already got one rammed up, you know, his nose.
The rear, yes.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I'm not trying to criticize Gustav, but you know, he's a little bit on the, shall we say, straight side. Okay. Except for his Sibelius E minor. Sibelius number 1 is great. And Concerto for Orchestra, Bartok. Those are the best things I ever heard him do. And anyway, so here's the deal. You've got everyone has to be prepared for everyone. That's the answer to the riddle. This track thing, I mean, you know, music -1, music +3, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it never worked. I tried it once and I threw the record and broke it into 50 pieces. I was a kid. I said, what the hell is this? Of course, there's no flexibility. What are they going to do? Like take time here and not there? Rubato. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know. The concerto's the hardest thing to do. The hardest thing to do. You have to be sensitive to every element in quartet. Playing the Brahms quintet or the Elgar quintet or the Tchaikovsky trio is nothing compared to playing the simplest concerto. And a piano concerto is worse because you're not the violinist can turn around and face the conductor, blah, blah, blah. The cellist can go and ruin his neck and, whatever. The singer can definitely have fun, but the pianist, I mean, he's too freaking, she too, busy playing the stupid thing, and the lid is in the way. I mean, what are you going to do?
That's true.
You gotta have ears. Gotta have ears.
Well, the piano also has that attack of the note, so it never is together with the piano, just because the piano has that sharp beginning of the note.
That's true.
Well, you'd be shocked how together you can. Here's my answer to the whole riddle. If you feel the music, you're together. You've got to feel it together, whether you like it or not.
Yep.
You got to feel what the guy's doing and anticipate it, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Anna, do you have any words to say in response to that before we give the microphone to Devin?
Devin? Okay, well, yeah.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Anna, I am so
My
excited
response is I'm very pragmatic. People say that
You're
I'm very pragmatic.
Oh,
So,
pragmatic. Okay.
Pragmatic, yeah. People say that in my performance, my style is very passionate and dramatic and all that.
I'm
But
sure you're passionate.
Yeah, it's true in
I'm
my class.
positive.
But I approach preparation in a very pragmatic way. So when there's very limited time with the conductor, it's all about tempo. And everything in between the tempo changes is just follow me or don't. But at some point, I prepare what I'm going to do and I plan to stick with it. So those are the points which I usually rehearse before the rehearsal with the orchestra. And then if there is an opportunity, which I always ask for when preparing for a concerto, which is just give me a couple of minutes with the solo instruments. Whatever
okay.
solo. Yeah. At the end of your previous session, you're rehearsing symphony or something, just ask, please, the soloist to stay back for like 5 minutes so we can go over the solos. And
That's lovely. That's a great idea. Wonderful.
And I'm very pragmatic. I come with a list with a bullet point. Measure number this, measure number that. And I need a flute, I need a trumpet, I need a French horn, and I need your percussionist.
These people need to stay behind.
if they're willing, if they're not willing, we're not going to be together. It's just simple as that.
Hey, Anna, is there another word besides? I want to have a synonym for pragmatic because of the number of times you used it. I want to, when I talk about pragmatic, I want to say a few synonyms. Are there any?
English is not my native language, so please, synonyms are welcome. I'll use them.
Collegial, cooperative.
Yeah.
That's good. Those are good.
I need a Roget's thesaurus, I think. Yeah, okay, I got it. No, I agree.
I like a plan, so I come to the rehearsal with a plan, and it's not inflexible. If the conductor says, "Well, I have a different plan," let's merge both plans and see what happens.
You know what they say about a plan, though, at least in my experience.
It goes out to the wind.
Very good. This has become a sitcom now.
I have a question for Devin before he opens his mouth. I really need that. This is one of the guys I've seen that looks very intelligent. You look very intelligent. I don't know if you are, but
because I'm looking at a screen for 5 hours a day.
He's focused.
No, anyway, here's my question.
Jennifer, thank you so much. I love it.
I'm so happy right now.
What's wrong with having a big steak and a baked potato and then go to the rehearsal and the conductor just listens to you? I know it rarely happens, but it happened with Novak and it happens with Schwartz. They never asked me to play. Mazel didn't either. But the other, Walter Handel did. I have to hear every note. Okay, okay, I played every note for the guy in Louisville, who was the Israeli conductor there at Chautauqua and so on for years. I had to play the Cacciatorian 5 times all the way through before the rehearsal, and then we did the concert in the tent that night. I mean, come on.
It was like Bernstein or something. What was his name? Like not the Bernstein.
No. It was Yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah,
And
of
that-
course I know who you mean. I played with him. But I mean, this guy was nuts. I don't mind if he beats me up in a dark alley. I'm going to say it. The cellist, this guy Jeff Szabo from Oberlin said, "Hey Richie, I don't know how you were able to play at 8 o'clock. You've already played the thing 10 times." I said, "Well, I'm not short on energy,
Well, we're in kind of danger of running out of time here. So, Devin, do you have any quick tips for musicians on preparing for their first rehearsal and answering any of Richie's suggestions?
Yeah, give me some tips.
Well, I think that I'd need another hour to respond to everything
We might need
that
to
Richie
have him on
went
your
through.
podcast.
But yeah, that would be a great guest. But so I did write a few things before Richie got an opportunity to share that I can share that I think will be quick. First of all,
Thank you.
First of all, it's
the best forum ever.
It's really cool that you know Gustav Meyer, because I've had some of my best. I mean, I was never an official student of his, but I worked with him many times at workshops or clinics, and he was always incredible, and people always talked about him. It was always any teacher would talk about him. Him or Otto Werner Mueller.
Yeah, I know Otto.
Yeah, so
I got a great joke about Otto. We got to talk, man.
Yeah. You got to have him on your podcast. Anyways, yes, Devin.
So
continue.
Otto's dead, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
okay, good. We can talk about him now.
So I would say,
let's just talk about it.
For to answer your question, Chris, get to as many rehearsals. You should not be in a scenario where you only have one rehearsal, first of all. Okay. And I think you should plan ahead unless you're Dikran or Chelobadake or Garrick Olsa or whoever is going to play these things, in their sleep, and then a conductor and an orchestra that are at least a regional professional orchestra level, where they can assuming it's a standard piece. If you do have one rehearsal, and it's interesting because I'm conducting the Concierto de Aranjuez tomorrow. So it was nice to be able to review it.
That's useful for you.
The guitarist.
You can take this tempi.
I've never worked with this guitarist. No, I'm not. I won't take those two. Whatever. But the guitarist did send me a text a week ago, and he gave me his preferred tempo. So I would say get those to the orchestra. Ideally, like Joanna said, if you can meet with the conductor, that's great. As much time, FaceTime with you have with the conductor before, even if it's 30 minutes to just go through transitions, go through overall tempi, take it, because that's going to be key.
I see.
In terms of who's making the decisions, I think it usually, I've kind of gone back and forth on this, but it's whoever has more Instagram followers gets to make the decisions.
There we go. That's why you're doing the podcast. This is all part of the accruing of followers. I see how it is.
Yeah, it's just marketing.
It's a power struggle.
Judges, thank you so much. I really have to stop us now because we have another show coming up at 10. And thank you so much for your feedback.
To set up the studio for next.
This has been not only entertaining, informative, but just so hilarious. Thank you so much, judges. I want to wrap our show up with Dr. Anna here as my co-host, and we stream on all these social media platforms because we believe in transmitting our art everywhere that we can, and also I think it's really important that we do stream everywhere that we do, so that a lot of our audience can watch our show. I want to make sure that people know that this is where we stream to. We have wonderful partners and collaborators, people who have been with us actually from day one, right, Dr. Anna? These people have really been so loyal to us, and you can see these from the Colburn School to iClassical Academy. These partners have been with us forever, and so grateful, really, truly. And I want to give a big hand to them for giving so many opportunities not to us per se, although we collaborate with them, but to young musicians out there who really want to have a career and to share their music with the whole world. We're here as a platform to host and to put you on stage, and just thank you for being a part of it. And with that, a big hand to our team as well. Everybody behind the scenes, from the amazing laugh track that I think they just downloaded 3 or 4 seconds ago. Amazing team, checking everybody, making sure everybody sounds as good as they can, and video editing, filmmaking, all of that. And of course, a big hand to our judges. We have a show coming up in less than about 20 minutes, so everybody jump onto that soon. It's happening, and we've got more music coming up. Thank you again to everybody for joining us, and Anna, thank you to you as well.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you everyone for your support, for warmth, for creating this vibrant community.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you in 20 minutes.
Yeah, see you all soon. Bye for now.
Bye for now.